Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about 5 mid-tiers that in my opinion have infinite potential to move up the tier list and to just do really cool stuff. Now keep in mind that the term mid-tier is very vague. Everybody's tier lists are completely different, so maybe one of these characters that I think is mid-tier, that I think in general most people think is mid-tier, you think is high-tier, you know, that could be the case, and I'm sorry, that's just kind of how it is. As well, of course, I can't put characters like Ice Climbers or like Ken that I think have a ton of potential because they're already like high tier. So, you know, that's just kind of how it is. That's just my opinion. With that all in mind though, guys, let's talk about these characters and just talk about the really cool and kind of stupid stuff that some of them can do. Okay, so starting off with Rosalina and Luma, honestly this character is quite gutted from the last game. I'm just gonna be straight up honest. When you look at her in this game compared to the last game, she was just dumb in Smash 4. She was just a character that like you up aired at 40% and you're at the top of the screen, well, your opponent dies, and that's just kind of how it is. Your down air was just ridiculous, and overall she just felt so good. I mean, she was an obvious top tier for an obvious reason, but I don't really feel like you had to do that much with her. I feel like you could just kind of play a general game plan and you do fine. With Rosalina Smash Ultimate, I feel like she's actually a decent character, but is so difficult in this game compared to the previous one, mainly because in order to make up for all the just insane stuff that she had in the last game for free, now you have to make up for that with her desyncs, with her crazy combos, and with her incredible spacing with Luma that can just be really hard to pull off and really just not making that much sense on paper. I feel like these are things that they're essentially Twitter clips. They're tech that could be amazing, that could be pulled off and could do so much, but probably won't actually happen way too much. But on paper, yeah, the potential is definitely there. Now, in addition to this, of course, she has really amazing edge guarding, so if you can get amazing at that, you know, that can carry her quite a bit. The neutral air is just kind of busted. And overall, I just think she's an extremely unique puppet character that just kind of does some work with people like to buzz. But of course, yeah, isn't quite as strong as the last game. And if you want to make her potential show, it's going to take a lot of work. Okay, so with Pit, this character is going to be kind of a little cheesy because honestly, Pit I think could be just instantly a high tier, top tier character if they fix some of his moves. And I feel like the real potential in Pit is just them fixing his attacks. And you know, that sounds a little weird, but I think that's really honestly the case because Pit has just so much good stuff going for him. He has multiple jumps, which is really good. He has a potentially really good combo game if you got a few buffs on some of his key moves, which just don't quite work right now. He has a potentially really good kill game if some of his moves worked a little bit better. And yeah, he's just overall quite a good, fast character that could have a lot of amazing stuff going for him if he was just a little bit stronger and just had a few key buffs here and there. Now, first off, I'm going to say with Pit, some of his moves just straight up don't work. I mean, his forward air, people fall out all the time, doesn't do damage. His neutral air has the tiniest hitbox half the time people fall out. And even his up smash, people just fall straight out of that. Also his dash attack, which should obviously be a kill move, it just doesn't kill nearly as early as it possibly should. Pit just has so much. And I think that is just so cool about this character. They could make Pit into a great character really quickly because even with what he has right now, it's pretty good. He has good combos, he has a good projectile, his side B is a good burst option, he has pretty decent throws, could be buffed a little bit, but pretty decent, a disjoint, but everything just feels a little bit too weak, and everything on him I feel like just feels where it could be so good if it was just a tiny bit better, and that's kind of how we are right now with this character. Honestly, could become amazing with just a few key buffs. And even without some buffs though, I feel like there is quite a bit of potential with this character. There is quite a bit of potential, you know, combos that we can figure out with him, quite a bit of potential edge guarding. But my pick with Pit is a little weird because it's mainly based off the potential off of buffs, which could be really easy to see on this character. Okay, so Toon Link, I think people are sleeping hard on this character. It's kind of weird because with all the links, I feel like people don't know where to put them anymore. They have literally no idea. You have some people putting Young Link as like top 10 still. Some people putting Young Link as like a low tier now because he can't ever get kills. You have people putting regular Link at like mid tier. Some people putting him at high tier. Some even at the bottom of top tier. And then you have people putting Toon Link all the way down to bottom tier. But then also some people putting him at high tier. It's weird. People don't know where the links go. And I feel like it's kind of just weird because they all feel really good in my hands. They all feel very powerful. In general, I feel like Toon Link is the one that people just kind of ignore the most. Now, the reason for this is because it feels just kind of like a mix between the other two links, and that I think in most people's minds makes him feel kind of like the useless extra link that we don't really need. But he does so much, and he does so much good. Now, first off, of course, he's small, he's fast, he has a really decent disjoint with amazing frame data, and his combo game off of it is kind of ridiculous off his sword. It doesn't really even make any sense. He has some free kill confirms with his bombs into his forward air and some random other stuff that he has. Pretty safe. And his back air and forward tilt are just kind of busted. I mean, especially his back air. You can get like 5 of these for free. Tons of damage, link that into his up B, kill it like 50 or 60%. Kind of like a Mii brawler or a Mii sword fighter up B. Kind of dumb. And yeah, even up B out of shield, kind of busted. He has a lot of just really weird stuff that just kind of works. And I feel like actually a lot of top players have finally started to look into this character a little bit. Recently I've been hearing just through Twitter and through watching Pandaren and a few other players, you know, they finally started to pick him up and see what he can actually do. And I feel like once people fully optimize him, especially with his projectiles, with his spacing, with his movement, with all of that, he could probably go up to a high tier or maybe even possibly a top tier character if people could 100% perfect him. Now, with all the other links, I feel like there's just always something holding them back. I don't know exactly what it is, but with Toon Link, I could see a lot going for this character in the future. Marth is a case that I think is going to be very weird to talk about because some people consider this guy like a low tier or even a bottom tier, like bottom 15, while other people consider him like a high tier, a really quite good character. But I feel like in general, most people think he's kind of a mid tier, kind of just a pretty decent character, but there's really no reason to pick him up at all compared to Lucina because he's just way easier, way better, way more consistent, and just kind of does everything he does, but with zero effort. And in general, I'm going to say, for the average player, that is 100% true. That's just kind of how it is. And I'm really sad saying that because I love Marth. I think this character's design is one of the smartest in just any game. It just makes sense 100% from the get-go. It doesn't even take any IQ. You just think about it. A sword character, we have to space well, and if you space perfectly, you get a lot of reward. That's just a cool idea, and it is essentially the opposite of Roy. Now, unfortunately though, Marth just doesn't work in this game very well for the average player. And I'm gonna say, Marth, for the average person, just pulling him out, just feels very inconsistent. He feels like somebody that just can't get his tippers very often, even if you're trying your best, even if you're spacing your best. It doesn't really have way too many ways to lead into them, and it just makes him feel awkward to hit with. That's what I'm gonna say in general. Even when you're watching NKLeo, even the best player possibly in the entire world, it still just seems awkward. And I feel like that is his main problem. Now, on paper though, if you played Marth perfectly, this character could be absolutely busted. Sure, his hitbox feel inconsistent, but they're really not. They're just extremely hard to get perfectly every single time because they're so small and there just isn't that much that leads into them. But if you were the perfect player, yes, you would always be getting those. And essentially what you'd be getting is Lucina aerials that are more powerful, that are the same frame data, that are more safe, that can possibly kill in a lot better ways, that can combo way better with the Sweet Saw and the Sour Spot. And yeah, Marth just ends up looking like a completely busted character. But in reality, that isn't what exactly happens for most of the time. His potential though, 1 bajillion% there. Now, I feel like the thing with Marth is that I wish that they kind of gave him back what he had in Smash 4 a little bit and removed some of the jank that they added back in Ultimate. In Ultimate, in a lot of cases, it seems like they just made so that Marth can kill even at early percents. He can kill at like ridiculous percents, like 40% with the F-Smash now, if you get the tipper. But you can like never get it, and it feels really awkward and just feels very clunky to play this character now. Well, in the last game, he had a lot of confirms that led into tippers, but he didn't kill nearly as early. I think that the previous game's balancing for Marth made a lot more sense, made him feel a lot better, made him feel a lot more consistent, and while he didn't have, I guess, as high of highs, his average was just a lot higher in general. Overall, a character that I think could be busted, probably the best character in the entire game if played by like Tass, but for us, you know, there's a lot of potential there. I don't know if we're gonna see it though. Okay, talking about a character that has a lot of potential that I just don't think that we're gonna see for a long time until somebody just randomly pulls it out and randomly starts taking W's. I'm gonna talk about Meta Knight. Now keep in mind that this list really isn't in our super particular order. Marth could possibly be above Meta Knight right here. Toon Link could possibly be above. But I feel like Meta Knight's just that character that at day -5 just looked busted. He's the character that just looked like he could do so much, and he still can. He still has stupid combos, stupid 0 deaths, stupid damage in certain situations. And he just honestly can be kind of broken if you play him in certain ways. The problem is that he's just very difficult to play, and he's just not nearly as 1 IQ as he was in the last game. In Smash 4, essentially all you did was just run around back and forth, dash attack, or dash grab. And that's kind of it. And then after that, you got either, you know, free up air string, or you got down throw into free up air string, and you killed it with that B. And that's kind of as simple as it was. In Ultimate, it's not really like that anymore. In this game, you really have to play it quite smart with this character, and I think it's really difficult with Meta Knight because he isn't a character that can necessarily just jump on your opponent's shield and just apply a ton of shield pressure, and he also isn't a character that can necessarily just space all the time. I think in general, Meta Knight's neutral is very difficult to play and very unique in this game, and just not the best. And that's, I think, what makes him so hard to pull out. But if you can get past his neutral, if you can make it very consistently good just by becoming an amazing player, always playing around your opponent, and just get to his punish game all the time and maximize that, I think this character honestly has some of the best ability to just jank out top players, to just jank out W's out of nowhere, to just kill people like 30% near the side of the stage. I think he just has a lot, but it is very unique to try to pull out, let's just say, to the least. Now, I'm going to say that as well, like a lot of the previous characters, I feel like if Meta Knight just got a few key buffs, mainly to either his dash attack or to his dash grab, kind of like he had in the last game, or even to his up B, he could just be a lot better character consistently. He could be a character that we see a lot more pulled out, and I feel like that, along with his current potential, could make him super, super good. As he is right now, though, I think there's a lot that could be done with him, but we aren't really seeing anybody do anything, and he does feel a little inconsistent, which does, yeah, kind of hold him back. So anyways, that's going to be my list of the 5 mid tiers that I think just have infinite potential in a lot of different ways. Some of them are potential with buffs, some of them are potentials with how they currently are, some of them are potentials with, you know, different playstyles, with different tech, all of that. And of course, as always, this is just going to be my own opinion. I'd really like to hear yours down in the comment section down below, though. If you thought that I got one of these wrong, one of these in a different order, anything like that, also tell me down below more top 5 lists that you'd like to see in the future. I really like to hear you guys' own opinions. I actually got this list off an opinion that was given in a previous video. So yeah, if you comment that down below, I'll definitely look at that and maybe even give you a little heart just for your work. But that all said though, guys, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And as always, have a smashing day.